So, imagine you are sitting at a massive, very formal family dinner.
Okay, I am picturing it, lots of silverware.
Exactly. And you have been studying English for years, practicing every single day, and you finally feel ready to show off your progress. You want to impress everyone at the table.
Right, that classic feeling of just wanting to get it right.
Yeah. So your aunt leans over, pours some wine, and she asks how your uncle is doing after his really exhausting business trip.
Okay.
And you confidently smile, you put your napkin on your lap, and you say in perfect, clear English, "Oh, he drank a lot of coffee, got a headache, and passed away."
Oh, no. I can already hear the absolute silence at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Just forks clattering onto porcelain plates.
Total disaster, right? The sheer panic in the room, relatives are gasping. Someone is literally sobbing into their soup.
Wow.
And you are just sitting there, smiling politely, completely thrilled that you use such an advanced vocabulary phrase. But instead of telling them that your uncle fell asleep on the sofa, you just accidentally announced to the entire family that your uncle is dead.
Yeah, that is the ultimate conversational disaster. And honestly, it perfectly highlights a really frustrating truth about this language.
Which is what, exactly?
Well, memorizing textbook vocabulary is simply never enough to keep you safe. You can know all the definitions, but the actual usage will trip you up.
Which is exactly why we are here to help you navigate this minefield. So welcome to the Deep Dive on the Westbrook English channel. Today, we are exploring the chaotic, hilarious, and, well, sometimes dangerous hidden codes of the English language.
It really is a minefield out there.
It so is. Our deep dive today is titled Don't Spill the Beans, and our goal for you is simple. We want to show you that mastering English isn't about memorizing endless, dry lists of words.
Right.
It is about uncovering the bizarre historical backstories and the really vivid, literal images behind the phrases native speakers use every single day.
Because when you actually understand the history and the why behind a strange phrase, you never have to force yourself to memorize it again. The mental picture kind of does all the heavy lifting for you.
I love that. Okay, let's unpack this. Before we dive into the wild historical backstories, we really need to define the tools we are working with today.
Good idea.
Because I always used to assume that an idiom and a phrasal verb were basically the exact same thing. Just, strange groups of words that didn't make any logical sense.
Yeah, a lot of people think that.
But looking at our research for today, it seems like they operate on completely different rules. Could you break that down for us?
They absolutely do. So think of an idiom as a cultural secret code.
A secret code.
Yeah. It is a phrase where the actual overall meaning has absolutely nothing to do with the individual words inside it.
Right.
If you translate an idiom literally, word by word, into your native language, the sentence will just sound like complete nonsense.
Okay, give me an example from the notes, just to make it clear.
We'll take the classic English idiom, bite the bullet.
Right. Okay. So if I have zero cultural context for that, I'm picturing someone literally loading a piece of metal ammunition into their mouth, biting down hard on brass and lead and probably, breaking all their teeth.
Which sounds completely unhinged in a modern office setting. Like if your boss tells you to bite the bullet on a tough project, they aren't asking you to eat ammunition.
I would hope not.
Right. The phrase actually means to force yourself to do something incredibly difficult, painful, or unpleasant. But the words bite and bullet offer zero clues to that meaning. At least, not unless you know the history behind them.
So where does it come from? I mean, why would anyone ever bite a bullet?
It dates back to the grim realities of 19th century warfare.
Oh,
yeah. Long before modern medicine or, anesthesia existed.
That sounds rough.
Very rough. If a soldier was severely injured on the battlefield and needed emergency surgery, the field doctor had no painkillers to give them.
Oh, no.
So to keep the soldier from screaming or literally biting their own tongue off in pure agony, the surgeon would hand them a soft lead bullet.
And just tell them to chew on it.
Exactly. They instructed them to bite down on it as hard as they could while the surgery happened.
Wow, that is incredibly visceral. So they were literally biting a bullet to endure an agonizing physical ordeal.
Precisely. Over the decades, of course, the medical practice vanished.
Yeah.
But the cultural memory stayed.
Right.
We just kept the phrase to describe any situation where you have to brace yourself and get through something painful.
That makes so much sense now. So the idiom is basically a historical snapshot.
Exactly.
But phrasal verbs, like our uncle passing away at the dinner table, those feel very different to me. They seem much more like a structural formula.
That is a really great way to look at it. A phrasal verb is a mechanical combination.
Okay.
You take a standard verb and you combine it with a preposition or an adverb.
You know, it reminds me of cooking a meal.
Oh, how so?
Well, you start with a basic safe ingredient, like a plain baked potato.
Okay, I'm with you.
That potato is your normal verb, like the word look. You know exactly what a potato tastes like, and you know that look means aiming your eyes at something.
Right. It is very stable and predictable.
But then you go into your spice cabinet and you grab a jar of extremely hot ghost pepper chili powder.
Okay, a big flavor change.
Yeah. That chili powder is your preposition, like the words up to.
Yes.
So when you sprinkle up to onto the verb look, creating look up to, you haven't just slightly altered the potato. You have created an entirely different culinary experience.
You really have.
Look up to no longer involves aiming your eyes upward at the ceiling. It suddenly means to deeply admire someone.
I love that cooking analogy because it highlights the volatility.
Yes.
The preposition is the spice. It completely overwrites the original flavor of the verb.
And if you grab the wrong spice, you ruin the entire dinner, just like our uncle.
Exactly. Which brings us to a phrase that sits right at the intersection of strange mental imagery and hidden history. The title of today's deep dive, Spill the Beans.
This is a phrase we use all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Like, if I am organizing a secret surprise birthday party for a friend, and another friend accidentally texts the birthday girl about the cake,
Oh, the worst.
I would throw my hands up and say, I can't believe you just spilled the beans.
Right.
Meaning, of course, you accidentally revealed a protected secret.
But what's fascinating here is the sheer mechanics of ancient democracy.
Wait, democracy, what do you mean?
Yeah, to understand this phrase, we have to travel back thousands of years to ancient Greece, to a society trying to figure out how to run a government without, paper ballots or digital voting machines.
Okay, so how did they vote on highly sensitive, controversial political issues?
Well, they used physical objects. Specifically, they used colored beans.
Actual beans.
Actual beans.
Yeah.
When an assembly gathered to vote on a serious issue, say whether or not to exile a politician, they needed the vote to be completely anonymous. So people wouldn't face retaliation, right?
Right, a secret ballot, but with agricultural supply.
Exactly. Each voting citizen would be handed a white bean, which generally signified a yes vote, and a black or dark bean, signifying a no. And in the center of the gathering, officials placed a large, opaque clay jar. Voters would walk up and drop their chosen bean into the jar, hiding their vote from the crowd.
So that clay jar is sitting there, slowly filling up, literally holding the secret results of the election.
Yeah, and the tension in the room would be incredibly high. The results were meant to be a heavily guarded secret until the officials firmly emptied the jar and counted the beans in front of everyone.
Sure.
But occasionally, in a crowded, tense assembly, someone might clumsily bump into the table.
Oh, I see where this is going.
The heavy clay jar tips over, it shatters on the stone floor, and suddenly hundreds of white and black beans go rolling out everywhere for the entire crowd to see.
Oh, man. The secret tally is instantly revealed prematurely.
Exactly.
The clumsy voter literally spilled the beans.
Yes. The physical accident of dropping the jar became the perfect metaphor for prematurely revealing protected information.
What I find so funny about this is how completely disconnected our modern brains are from that historical reality.
Oh, entirely.
If you ask a native speaker today to draw a picture of spilling the beans, they will probably sketch a frustrated barista dropping a giant burlap sack of roasted coffee.
Right. With brown coffee beans scattering all over a cafe floor.
Exactly, because coffee is our modern context for the word bean. We completely lose the ancient political stakes.
And that disconnect is exactly what creates the literal comedy of the English language. When we lose the historical context, these phrases become utterly absurd mental images.
They really do. The history gives way to surrealism.
For sure.
Let's explore some of these bizarre literal images, because the gap between what these phrases sound like and what they actually mean is staggering.
Let's do it.
Take the phrase, hold your horses. If I am a learner taking this literally, I am picturing a guy standing in a field, wrapping his arms around 3 or 4 massive 1,000-pound farm animals.
Just wrestling them.
Yeah, just sweating and straining, trying to physically lift them up.
That would require supernatural strength. Thankfully, no heavy lifting is required.
Yeah.
But you are on the right track regarding physical restraint.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this phrase goes back to the days when horse-drawn wagons and stagecoaches were the primary mode of transportation.
Okay, so someone actually driving a team of horses.
Exactly. If a driver was going too fast Or if they were about to pull out into a dangerous intersection, a passenger would yell at them to pull back hard on the reins,
Oh, I get it.
to physically hold their horses in place. And over the centuries, we took that literal command to stop a wagon and we turned it into a general request for patience.
Right.
Today, if your friend is rushing you out the door before you've found your keys, you just tell them to hold your horses, meaning slow down, be patient.
The physical restraint of the reins became a metaphor for mental patience. That is brilliant.
It's very elegant.
But what about phrases dealing with food? Because English has some disgusting culinary idioms.
Uh-oh, like what?
Well, when I hear someone say they're going to chew the fat, I immediately picture someone at a fancy steakhouse. They are slicing off a massive, greasy white chunk of pure fat from a ribeye
Oh, gross.
and just chewing on it like chewing gum for 30 minutes.
That is a deeply unappetizing image.
It really is.
And ironically, the origin of this phrase isn't about fine dining at all. It is about survival and, well, extreme boredom.
How so? Extreme boredom.
Yeah, we have to look at the history of sailors on long, months-long ocean voyages. This is before the invention of refrigeration.
Okay.
The only way to preserve meat on a ship was to heavily salt it. So they ate a lot of salted pork, which was incredibly tough, dried out, and mostly consisted of hardened fat.
Ew, so they were eating something that basically had the texture of shoe leather?
Exactly. It required an immense amount of jaw strength. A sailor would put a piece of this tough salted fat in their mouth, and it would take them hours of chewing just to break it down enough to swallow.
Hours. Wow.
Yeah. And during those long hours of chewing, with absolutely nothing else to do, they would sit around complaining, gossiping, and talking about life.
Ah, so the physical act of slowly chewing this terrible food was permanently linked to the act of having a long, casual conversation.
Yes. Today, to chew the fat just means to have a relaxed, long chat with an old friend. Thankfully, no salted pork is required.
I am very grateful we dropped the pork part.
Me too.
Okay, from food to international diplomacy.
Ooh, let's hear it.
The phrase, pardon my French, taking this literally, I would assume someone is sincerely apologizing for switching languages.
Right.
Like, oh, forgive me, I didn't realize I just ordered my coffee in Parisian French.
That is definitely the most logical interpretation. But English uses this phrase in a much sneakier way.
Sneakier.
Yeah. Today, pardon my French, is exclusively used as an excuse for swearing. If someone drops a terrible curse word in a professional meeting, they will quickly say, oh, pardon my French, to casually brush off their bad behavior.
But why blame the French language for our English swear words? What did they do?
Well, this takes us into the bitter, centuries-old historical rivalries of Europe.
Yeah.
Back in the 18th and 19th centuries, the English and the French harbored intense cultural animosity.
Of course.
The English upper class started a trend where they would blame absolutely anything offensive, inappropriate, or scandalous on the French culture.
Really? So it was just a giant cultural scapegoat?
Completely. If an English person displayed bad manners, read a naughty book, or used foul language, they would sarcastically apologize by blaming it on their French side.
Wow.
And we just inherited that 19th century political pettiness. We still use it today every single time we curse.
It is incredible how grudges survive in language, just outlasting everything else.
They really do.
But let's look at one final idiom, because this one might be the darkest and most confusing of them all. Kick the bucket. To a learner, this sounds like a very minor accident. You are walking down the street, you weren't looking where you were going, and you swing your foot and stub your toe on a metal pail.
Which, sounds painful, but certainly not fatal.
Right. But the actual meaning of kick the bucket is to die, to pass away.
Yes.
How on earth did a minor accident with a metal pail become the universal English slang for the end of a human life?
The secret here is that the word bucket in this phrase has absolutely nothing to do with a metal pail used for holding water.
It doesn't. Are you serious?
Not at all. It derives from an old French word, boucher.
Boucher.
Yeah. A boucher was a heavy wooden beam or a wooden frame used in medieval slaughterhouses.
Oh, wow. This is taking a very dark turn.
It is. When farmers brought livestock like a pig to the slaughterhouse, the animal would be suspended upside down from this heavy wooden beam.
Really?
The boucher.
Oh.
In its final moments, the animal would inevitably spasm and kick its legs against the wooden beam. It literally kicked the boucher.
Wow. So it has nothing to do with a cleaning pail. It is a direct reference to a medieval slaughterhouse mechanism that completely rewrites the entire image in my head.
And this is exactly why you can never rely on the modern literal translation. The history is completely hidden beneath centuries of linguistic changes.
Man. But, at least with idioms, if you get them wrong, people just think you are being eccentric.
True.
Like, if I tell someone my uncle kicked a pail, they might just think he is clumsy. But if we pivot back to our cooking analogy to phrasal verbs, the verbs loaded with chili powder.
Right. The spices.
Yeah. The danger of getting things wrong goes way up with those.
We are definitely entering the danger zone. Phrasal verbs are where learners cause actual chaos in their personal lives.
Let's go back to that traumatizing dinner party scenario from the opening of our deep dive. The difference between pass out and pass away.
It is the ultimate high-stakes vocabulary trap. The base verb is pass. But let's look at the two different prepositions, the two different spices. If you use out, creating pass out, it means to faint or fall asleep very suddenly from exhaustion.
So if I say, my uncle worked a 14-hour shift, came home, and passed out on the rug, he is perfectly fine. He is just snoring.
He is completely fine, just resting. But if you accidentally grab the preposition away, creating pass away, you've drastically changed the recipe.
You definitely have.
Pass away is the gentle, polite English term for dying.
The only difference between a peaceful nap and a tragic funeral is the tiny 3-letter word out versus the 4-letter word away. It is terrifying for a learner.
It proves that in English, the smallest words often carry the heaviest consequences.
Are there other ones that are just as tricky?
Oh, definitely. Let's look at another one that completely shifts depending on the context. Blow up.
Okay, the literal meaning here is violent destruction. If a building blows up, it is a catastrophic explosion.
Exactly. But if you take that physical destruction and apply it to human emotion, the meaning morphs.
Like anger.
Right. If someone tells you, I missed my deadline and my manager completely blew up at me, it doesn't mean the manager detonated into 1,000 pieces in the office.
Right. It just means they exploded with anger. They started yelling.
Yes, an emotional explosion. But it gets even trickier because in the last decade, the internet gave blow up a third incredibly positive meaning.
Oh, true.
Yeah, if you are an artist and you post a video of your painting on social media and suddenly millions of people are sharing it, you would call your friends and say, my video just blew up.
Meaning it went viral. It achieved massive sudden popularity.
Yes. So depending entirely on the context of the sentence, blow up can mean a lethal bomb, a terrifying boss, or a life-changing amount of internet fame.
It is a linguistic obstacle course. So what does this all mean for you listening to this deep dive?
Good question.
It means that learning English isn't a dry, boring memorization task. It is an archaeological dig. Every time you encounter a phrase that doesn't make sense, there is a good chance you are stumbling over a medieval wooden beam, a 19th century political grudge, or an ancient Greek voting jar.
The language is just a living museum of human habits and accidents. And honestly, that realization actually makes the learning process a lot more forgiving.
How so?
Well, you aren't failing to understand logic, you're just uncovering history.
That is a very comforting way to frame it.
And looking at the ancient Greeks, it actually raises a really fun question for our own modern era.
Ooh, what's that?
They gave us the phrase spilling the beans just by being clumsy and dropping a clay jar during a vote.
Right.
Totally mundane physical accident that somehow survived for thousands of years as a metaphor.
It's wild to think about.
So it makes you wonder, what simple, everyday physical habits are we doing right now that will become utterly confusing idioms for English learners hundreds of years in the future?
Oh, that is fascinating to think about. Like maybe someone in the year 2500 will be arguing with a friend and they will say, you really dropped the phone on that one.
Yes.
To mean like losing a personal connection long after physical smartphones belong in a museum.
Or telling someone to swipe left on a bad business idea long after dating apps have ceased to exist.
Oh, that's a great one.
We're actively building the bizarre idioms of tomorrow, today.
I love that. We are living in the history that will confuse future students. Well, if you take anything away from today's exploration, let it be this. Don't be intimidated by the weirdness of English.
Absolutely not.
Embrace the bizarre mental images. And please, the next time you are sitting at a formal family dinner, take a deep breath, verify your prepositions, and make absolutely sure you know the difference between your uncle passing out and passing away.
Your relatives will be incredibly grateful.
They truly will. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive today on the Westbrook English channel. We hope we helped illuminate the hidden corners of the language and gave you some great stories to share.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new deep dive. We will see you next time.